Happy Easter Monday, everybody. Welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for this beautiful Easter week as we celebrate that Jesus Christ is risen and we have survived Lent and we are back in sort of in the land of the living. I don't know about you, but I'm exhausted and I'm one of the lucky few. As a clergy person this year, I had it easy. Normally, in previous years, I would have had Lenten studies or Lenten lunches and all kinds of things that had to happen, and then services every day of the week, and the Paschal Triduum, and then Easter Day, and multiple services and things like that. And while I did participate in Eucharist every week, every day this past week, and while I did participate in the Paschal Triduum, and I went to several services on Easter Sunday, I wasn't it. For Easter Day, I was the preacher and celebrated at the cathedral, but I was able to just worship in the afternoon at St. Paul's in Wawanesa, and I was able to be present and participate at the cathedral through Holy Week, and then had the gift of going to St. Redeemer St. George's in Brandon for Thursday night for the Maundy Thursday service as well. So I had a full Holy Week of services, but I didn't have the pressure that I've always had on me as the priest. And it occurred to me that because of that pressure, I'm needing to learn a new thing because I have this massive list of to-dos. I have all kinds of things I have to do as a bishop. Um, Many of them are get caught up on all the things, read the files, look over things and everything. But I'm overwhelmed in a good way with all the work that is right now, not just the backup work, like the preparation work. So I've got to find a balance of when do I get the preparation work so that I can understand what I'm expected to do today, as well as doing the things that are landing on my desk every day, which there's some pretty big things. They're all doable. With Christ's help, they are all doable. And I'm enjoying it. I'm having a great time. I work with incredible people, but I need to learn a new way. And the Easter season is this incredible new time to do that because I was learning last week. I can't call up my archdeacon and say, hey, we need to plan this service, or we need to have this conversation about canons and constitutions. Can't do that during Holy Week. That's just cruel and unusual punishment to clergy who are already overwhelmed in the roles they have as the parish priest. And in many of our churches in the Diocese of Brandon, they don't even have a priest. They're lay people doing all this extra work. So I need to learn a new balance. I need to learn how to do a new thing. And I think that Easter season is an incredible time to do that. It's sort of like the new year in the church, although it isn't because that's Advent 1 and all that. But it's sort of like the same thing where I'm taking Easter as this opportunity to take a deep breath and to dive in and say, we can do this. We can learn a new thing. One of the gifts of grace of Easter is that we have been forgiven. We have been set up to begin anew, a brand new life. And God never expects of us that which we have never been taught to do. Just like we don't expect a child to run a marathon before they learn how to stand up and walk on their own, let alone sit up straight without help. God doesn't expect us to jump into something and then just be professional at it right away. And I'm leaning on God's grace right now as a bishop because that's the situation I'm in. This week sees a busy week for me. It has the funeral for our beloved dean's wife, Heather, on Thursday. And my right hand person who has become my left hand person and both my feet and the person who pushes my chair sometimes, Cheryl, is away to do some incredible work at Sorrento in BC. And she is going to learn, she's away for about a week, and she is going to learn new things that will help the national church, but will also help our own diocese of Brandon. And that's fantastic. But it means this week I have to learn how to do these things on my own. My first funeral in Brandon, my first funeral at the cathedral, my first funeral as bishop. And we will do it well. We will honor Heather and we will celebrate her life and we will uphold the dean and his children. And the community will gather around them because that's what we do as church. And then the day after that evening, I have a camp committee meeting for the Anglican Memorial Camp, which is this incredible, incredible gift in our diocese that has been a gift for since I think 1950. So it's like 74 years. It's incredible. It's beautiful. And it's something that we are going to figure out how to fundraise for. It is something that we are going to figure out how we can continue this ministry because it is a huge ministry for the young people in our diocese, both from the south, but also from the north for our Indigenous children who get this opportunity to come to camp that many others might not have. So um, yeah, absolutely. I've got the camp committee, and then I have that evening. I have a Zoom with the former Bishop of Brandon, William Cliff, who is teaching about presiding and how to be present. And I know how to do these things, but it's always good to get a refresher. And part of it is a whole pile of people from my diocese, clergy and lay ordained, lay as well, are lay people as well, are taking this course with him, and they're learning. And I want to know what they're learning. I want to be beside them as they learn so that we're all on the same page. And then on Friday, I get drive to Winnipeg and I get on a plane and I head for Toronto, where we have Provincial House of Bishops, and then Niagara Falls for National House of Bishops. Will arrive there the day of the big solar eclipse. So it's exciting times there. And I'll spend a week learning and being with bishops, praying with other bishops and learning, meeting them. I've never met many of them, and learning how to do this. And so I'm completely overwhelmed by how much I have to do beyond what I have to do within the office. There's like paperwork. I could, if I spun my computer around, you see piles and piles of paper, files and filing cabinets that I have to go through. And my post-it notes, which are, you can't see them because they're on the cupboards where I'm facing. There's tons of them with these things like, on this day, do this, and don't forget to do this. I have to write an article for the Mustard Seed, which is our diocesan newspaper, and I'm still wrapping my head around the fact that I have to have it in more than a month before it actually is produced. It's all of these new things. But really, isn't that really what Easter is about? The Easter season, which is, we spent 40 days, 6 weeks essentially. We knock off the Sundays because we break the feast for Sundays, but that's 6 weeks of Lent. And then we move into basically 6 weeks of Easter, this incredible time of renewal and rejuvenation and joy and looking forward to a new world. Remember, the disciples, when they gathered and realized that Jesus was risen from the dead, they had no clue what to do. I mean, they had been fishermen and they're carpenters or tax collectors or whatever it was they did before. And Jesus invited them to walk with him and to learn with him. And they did that. But they still knew who they were. With Jesus' resurrection, it's like their whole identities, their whole sense of who they are completely turns on its head. And they're like, but yeah, what do we do? Because after Easter, after a few weeks, after 6 weeks, then we have, after 50 days, we have Pentecost. But first we have Ascension. When Jesus ascends to heaven and leaves the disciples on their own, he said, I've taught you well. You can do this. Now you just need to do it. Kind of like becoming a bishop before Easter. I'm here. I've been taught. I have the resources I need. And now I have to just do the job. And that's what all of us are doing in Easter. We're learning how it is we're going to do the job of being disciples, of being apostles, of sharing Jesus' good word, good news with the world. Once Jesus isn't with us, once he has ascended, once we are commissioned to go into the world to share the good news. And so as we begin this Easter season, this Monday of Easter week, that is my prayer for you, that wherever you are in your life, even if you're not Christian, recognizing that we have these seasons, these times in our lives when we get a new job or a new relationship or everything turns upside down, hopefully in a good way, but we are called upon to do a new thing. And we may feel like we're completely overwhelmed and underprepared, but the truth is that if we take a deep breath, and especially for Christians, if we say, okay, God, lead me in the next steps. Help me not to worry about the 15th step. Help me just to worry about the first and second step. If we approach our new lives like that, our new challenges like that, we will be okay. There is nothing that we cannot do, especially if we're calm and we face it one step at a time. So as we enter into this this Easter week, this really holy of holy weeks, as we enter into this new season of new things and new birth and new opportunities, let's not worry so much those Lenten worries about, oh, the hand wringing, what am I going to do? I don't know how to do that. And let's open our eyes and our hearts instead to realizing that if there is something that God, or for those who are not believers, the universe, or however you believe, has placed in front of us, then we will also have placed in front of us the tools we need to do this. So let's do this together. Let's celebrate who we are. Let's go forth into this Easter season excited about the new possibilities and the new opportunities. And even when we feel overwhelmed, let's take a deep breath and realize we got this. Bring it on. So, as we move forward, continuing into this Easter week, let's bring it on. Let the Holy Spirit give us what comes next. And let's rejoice in knowing we can do this. We got this. Have a great day. God bless you all.